morning, top of the morning on this Good Friday. Welcome to another episode of Dope Content, the Dope Sports podcast brought to you by Dope Content. Welcome in. Thank you to everybody that's joining on Twitch. I know it's early in the morning. I know some of you guys are at work, so I know you're going to come in a little late, but I definitely appreciate you coming in anyway. And to the people that will watch this on YouTube and listen to this audio version of this podcast on Apple and Spotify, thank you guys as well. Today we are talking NBA playoffs. We are talking the play-in tournament. We're talking the Mavericks. LUKA Doncic. Is he going to play? Is he going to sit? What's going to happen with that? And I have a very special guest today. And I want to give this man his flowers. And I appreciate him so much for joining. And let's do a proper introduction. I have a video to introduce you guys to him. So if you don't know about him, you will learn about him real quick. So let's get right to it. And we're not going to waste your time. Let's get right into it.
Chris Arnold has been a radio and television favorite in the DFW area for more than 40 years. After he graduated from the University of Oklahoma in 1980, he was hired at KKDA-FM. That's K104 as sports director. He was heard every morning with Fly Jock Tom Joyner and a part of the Skip Murphy and Company morning show. Chris worked at KKDA for 30 years. How in the world he had time to moonlight is anybody's guess, but Chris also hosted his very own highly rated talk show from 1995 to 1999 on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. He was the first show on The Ticket to reach #1 in the ratings. Since 1996, Chris has been an integral part of the NBA's world champion Dallas Mavericks broadcast team. First as courtside analyst, and then serving as the Mavs game night MC. Chris was also selected to MC the 2010 NBA All-Star Game in AT&T Stadium in front of a crowd of 108,000 people. That's the largest crowd to view a basketball game in the United States ever. Today, Chris remains a fixture on the Intercom-owned KRLD-FM. That's 105.3 The Fan, and is one of their most popular hosts. He's covered every major sporting event the world has to offer. 28 Super Bowls, 21 NBA Finals, 2 Olympics, 15 Final Fours, 8 World Series, 26 championship boxing title fights, 25 NBA All-Star Games, 8 Baseball All-Star Games, 5 Pro Bowls, 15 college football games, and even the World Cup. On a personal note, we feel obligated, Chris, to let you know there is no bigger supporter of yours than KKDA's Hyman Childs, who has wanted this day to come even more than you for quite some time. Chris Arnold is a 2020 inductee of the Texas Radio Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir. And we have the Hall of Famer joining us today. So let's bring him in. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Chris Arnold, how you doing?
Good to be with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much again for joining me on this. I know it was kind of last minute, but I definitely appreciate you. You always showing love, always coming through when I ask. I definitely appreciate it. It's a huge honor.
No worries. Glad to be with you.
Yes, sir. So let's get right into it. I don't want to hold you guys long this morning. So before we get into the NBA playoffs round 1 and our predictions, let me go ahead and ask you now, Chris, who is to blame for the Lakers season failing this year?
LeBron James.
Oh,
you have to blame him because he gets the credit if they go right. And again, I greatly admire LeBron James, but everybody knows about the story of LeBron and Anthony Davis meeting up with Russell Westbrook at LeBron's house, and then they chopped it all up and said, yeah, let's join forces. And at the time, it seemed like it might work to them because literally, people forget this part, but a year ago, Russ carried the Wizards on his back and put them in the play-in. People forget about that, talking about the Wizards. Bradley Beal wasn't doing much. It was all Russell Westbrook. He got them in the playoff. They made some noise. And at that time, people were so impressed with Russell Westbrook on the East Coast. They were talking about, now send him up there to Brooklyn to reunite Harden, KD, and Russ. That's how strong Russ was playing. He gets to LA, where he's from, didn't work out. But LeBron made that happen. And LeBron takes the blame.
He did. Any blame on Frank Vogel at all?
No, he's just coaching it. All he can do is coach them the best of his ability. Now he lost his right hand man. He lost the defensive coordinator, Jason Kidd. You see what Jason Kidd did with the Dallas Mavericks. LeBron at that time thought he was going to have Jason Kidd, right there in the mix doing what he was doing. Right. And you saw what LeBron said once he found out that J. Kidd was coming to the Mavericks. He was like, oh, man, he lost it. Not that Frank Vogel is a very good coach, but it's Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd together. So here, and also Jason Kidd took Greg St. Jean with him. So, I mean, literally, it wasn't the same coaching staff, especially the same defense. And then you had AD, a.k.a. Street Clothes, getting hurt again.
Street Clothes. Okay.
I love Anthony. By the way, I love Anthony Davis, but hey, to me, he's no different than Kristaps, and I love Kristaps. Kristaps Porzingis, same kind of thing. You don't know when you're gonna get him.
Right. And I'm so excited and so happy that the Mavericks actually made that trade. To be honest with you, when they did make the trade, I was like, man, we gave up this young guy that could be a star. He's only 24 years old for Spencer Dinwiddie, and Bertans. But it turned out to be a great move for the Mavericks. So, hey, shout out to Jason Kidd. Shout out to Mark Cuban. And
Can I break that down real quick? Go ahead. This is, and I've talked about this on the radio lots of times, so this is not a big secret. But those who don't know what's going on, last summer, Nick Lowe, I guess, was saying this when he was ranking these teams and Coach of the Year candidates, and he was saying, everybody from last summer need to delete a bunch of tweets they had to say about Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison. Right. Last summer, because the Mavericks, everything that people thought, it's not going to work, all those things were completely wrong. Not just a little bit wrong, completely wrong, especially the way they do business. Nico Harrison and Jason Kidd, Mark Cuban added a guy named Andrew Baker to join Nico and Finley in the front office. Andrew Baker, Google him up. He's the secret weapon in the front office. He is the cap guy, the capologist for the Brooklyn Nets. He was there for 6 years, okay? When KD and Kyrie said, we're going to bring our talents to Brooklyn, it was up to Baker to make it all fit. And then when James Harden demanded out of Houston, it was up to Baker to figure out how to add another $40 million salary and not implode a playoff team. So trust me on this. Baker created a 4-team trade to get Harden up there. So when you talk about somebody understanding the cap, understanding trade scenarios, Andrew Baker is a secret weapon. So you got Baker in there with Nico. Nico's got the relationship. One thing about Donnie Nelson, the previous general manager, he recognized talent, but he didn't have the relationships that Nico Harrison has. Nico Harrison, 13 years or 17 years with Nike, Nike North America, the president of the entire basketball division for North America. He knew all the players, whatever the roster they were on, whether shoe company they were with, he knew the talent. Andrew Baker's job was, once they said, I'm in, make it work, make those salaries work. Well, they knew Porzingis was a talent, but they knew he also had a history of injury. It was Jason Kidd who said, okay, we're not going to put Porzingis in the corner like Rick Carlisle. I'm going to maximize all of his abilities, and we're going to see what we got. Right. While he was maximizing all of his abilities, Andrew Baker, Michael Finley, and Nico Harrison, they were always kicking the tires, finding out what's what. The bad thing about Porzingis, with everybody they talked to, was his contract is so big because he had a maxed out deal, $156 million. With that being said, if you were going to make a move with Porzingis, you had to be stealth. You could not do like stupid Stephen Jones with the Cowboys did. Say, we're going to move on from Amari and create a fire sale. Right. You got to do this like Seattle did with Russell Wilson. You got to say, okay, Russ, we're going to hold this thing down. You just play for the regular season. And when the regular season is over with, we're going to find out what's up. And then they quietly did the deal with Denver and got all they could from Denver. So that's what they were looking at with Porzingis. It could happen at any time, but they're never going to say we're going to move him. They're never going to say we're trying to get rid of him. They were like, we hope he stays healthy, and if he does, we'll keep him. But they weren't ever trying to say they were going to move him. But guess what? When you're looking at who's available and what you want to do, the way you move contracts is you have smaller contracts. The Mavericks now have 11 movable contracts as opposed to 2 gigantic contracts, LUKA and Porzingis. When you say, how did they get Dinwiddie and know that that would work? How come Andrew Baker been working with Spencer Dinwiddie for 5 years in Brooklyn? He knew the deal. That's called intel. Unlike, we just don't know. We just look at the analytics and we don't know the players personally. Andrew Baker had the insight into what was working with Dinwiddie and what was not with Washington and what was not Brooklyn and Washington. And here's the irony that nobody even talks about. Had LeBron James and Anthony Davis not traded and made the deal work for bringing in Russ, doing that Russell Westbrook move, Spencer Dinwiddie would not have been in Washington. To make that happen, they had to do all these different tries. See, people always look at, Harden just went up to Brooklyn. Houston didn't get it was a 4-way trade. When Russell Westbrook went to the Lakers, it was a 3 or 4 team deal, including Spencer Dinwiddie doing a sign and trade from Brooklyn to go to Washington to replace Russ. People don't even know those kind of things. They just look at surface things. So I'm giving y'all intel of what it takes to build a team.
Right. Okay, yeah. That I did not know. So that's
nobody thinks about those things, but it's just facts. So you got to give Mark Cuban credit for hiring Nico Harrison, Andrew Baker, Jason Kidd, and keeping Michael Finley, and realizing that group is what made this team what it is today. And then looking at Jason Kidd's staff, Jason Kidd bringing Igor Kostakov, who was LUKA's head coach in Slovenia. Been knowing him forever. Man,
they did.
Igor's son, his name is LUKA. His 4-year-old son is named LUKA. And Jason Kidd's secret weapon on his staff is Sean Sweeney. Sean Sweeney was the guy he brought with him from Brooklyn, took him to Milwaukee. And you already know that Milwaukee became a defensive juggernaut under Jason Kidd and Sean Sweeney. Sean Sweeney is the Mavericks defensive coordinator. You do know that Giannis does not work out with other NBA players, right? You know that, right?
Right.
The only person he would work out with all over the world, he called up Sean Sweeney. I need to do some work. Sean Sweeney go where Giannis was, whether it's Greece, whether it's Africa, whether it's in the Caribbean, whether it's in Miami. That's his guy. Jason Kidd brought him down here, and that's why the Mavericks have the number 7 defense in the NBA instead of the number 21 defense that they have been struggling with Ricardo.
With the same talent.
That's the point. That's the point. And mind you, the Mavericks offense last year was top 10. They're number 13 offensively and have improved by 10 games. That's Jason Kidd.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm glad you brought all this up about Jason Kidd because on previous podcasts last summer, I stayed getting into arguments with other people about Jason Kidd. They was like, why are you happy about Jason Kidd? Why do you want Jason Kidd? I mean, they came at me hard, Chris. They came at me hard about wanting Jason Kidd, and I was actually excited once we got rid of Rick Carlisle. I love Rick Carlisle. He is a great coach, but it was time to go. It was time to switch up. Exactly. And the first person I named on my podcast last year was Jason Kidd, and they came at me crazy. What about his history? What about this and that? I'm like, come on, man. You really don't know his history.
Yeah, they really don't know his history. And by the way, you weren't the only one that had Jason Kidd on the top of your list. Rick Carlisle, when he said goodbye, had Jason Kidd on the top of the list and said if Mark Cuban was smart, he would hire Jason Kidd. Remember, Jason Kidd was the quarterback of the Mavericks team that won the championship with Durant, and Rick Carlisle as the coach. Rick Carlisle had to give the keys to the car to Jason Kidd for this thing to work. And the history, let's go ahead and set the history straight for those who did not know, and I'm sure you did. There was this narrative that Jason Kidd got fired in Brooklyn and then got fired in Milwaukee, and that Jason Kidd didn't know how to coach.
Right.
Jason Kidd did not get fired in Brooklyn. Oh, and then there was this narrative, wait a minute, Jason Kidd tried to do a coup in Brooklyn. Let me set this whole thing up. When Jason Kidd went straight from playing basketball with the Knicks to being the head coach 3 weeks later with the Brooklyn Nets, a veteran team with head KG, Jason Terry, and Paul Pierce,
right?
They had a team that, just like this year, started slow and then in January kicked it up to like Zoom level, just like this year's Mavericks team. And that team made it to the playoffs and Jason Kidd became the first rookie coach in history to win a Game 7 on the other team's floor when the Brooklyn Nets upset the Toronto Raptors with DeRozan DeRozan and all them. Right. Okay? He came in third in Coach of the Year. That gave him the capital to go up to the front office and say, look, if we're going to do something, this is what we need to do. He was able to say that because the people who bought the Milwaukee Bucks, the new owners of the Milwaukee Bucks, he knew them from New York. He worked with them in their hedge fund. They were billionaires. And they said, J. Kidd, you know the Nets are a terrible organization. You helped save that franchise. If it don't work out, we would love to have you as our head coach. So he knew he had a job. So when Brooklyn wouldn't listen to him, he said, okay, I tried to help. I'm gone. I'm going to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I quit. Guess what? Then they said, no, you ain't quitting. We want draft picks. I'm going to tell you something. You don't get fired and demand draft picks.
Right.
So that narrative was wrong. And to cover their behinds, they were saying, oh, Jason Kidd tried to do a coup. He didn't try to do a coup. He told them this is what we need to get better. When he gets to Milwaukee, the narrative was, oh, he was a tough coach. When I heard about that last summer, I started laughing. First of all, I'm totally biased. Me and Jason Kidd are like this. We've been like this since the day he got drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. That's my little brother. At the same time, you hear my dog barking?
Yeah, he say he agree with
front door. He's agreeing with me. Someone's at my front door. I think it's a Hero. Nope. This is what you love about Zoom, right?
Right.
In fact, why don't you come with me to the front door real quick so we can calm the dog down and I can take this package. Tell my wife to take this. Jason Kidd goes to Milwaukee. Oh, Pam. My wife's on her own Zoom. Let me sign for this package. Jason Kidd goes to Milwaukee. I started laughing because, can you hear me?
Yes.
I started laughing because all he did was exactly what Jimmy Johnson did when he came to the Dallas Cowboys. He said, the asthma field's over there. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Jimmy Johnson was hard on those players in Dallas when he first got here. That's what Jason Kidd was. And don't get me wrong, he was treating the bench guys like veterans. All the veterans to this day absolutely love Jason Kidd. To this day, the biggest stars in the NBA swear by Jason Kidd. That's how you know he's legit. When the bench players start crying and moaning, oh, he's making us work out on Christmas Eve. I had plans to go home. That's called a loser mentality. He was weeding them out. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a sensitive time nowadays. This is the 20th century. Guess what he did? Jason Kidd goes to LA. He learns as an assistant coach because he's got a high basketball IQ.
Right.
He learns from as an assistant coach the little things he should have done. And now he's put all the pieces together because it wasn't no my way or the highway. It was like, I'm going to get a great team and I'm going to learn everything I did wrong and reinforce everything I did right, which is why he is a great coach. And like I said, those that don't know that, they're the ones, like I said, going on false narratives, and they have to delete their tweets from last summer, not you and I.
Right. So I'm definitely glad Jason Kidd was able to turn this team around. And we're going to get into the Mavericks, but let's get into the play-in tournament. Let's go over the games that already happened, and then quickly.
And by the way, thanks for bearing with me. This is what happens on Zoom.
Oh, yeah. It's no problem, man. It's no problem at all. Trust me.
You can say I can multitask.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. So let's get into the play-in tournament real quick. We had Brooklyn take out Cleveland 115-108. Kevin Love, 14 points for Cleveland. Evan Mobley, 19 points. Garland with 34 points. This team is going to be a problem pretty soon. But let's get into Brooklyn. Brooklyn, Kevin Durant, 25 points. Andre Drummond, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Kyrie Irving was unstoppable. 12 for 15, 34 points, 12 assists. Him and Darius Garland was going at it the whole game. I don't know if you were able to see it.
I did.
But I am a huge fan. I'm glad Kyrie Irving is back and able to play. He went through a lot this year with the whole, choosing not to get vaccinated. And he could play here, but he can't play there now. So I'm glad he's back on the court, and him and Darius Garland was a fun matchup. You have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, that Cleveland wasn't ready quite yet. They didn't have Jared Allen, and that made a lot. Made a huge difference. It's just that Brooklyn was the better team, and Kyrie made the first 12 shots that he should. He shot. I will say this: it makes this Brooklyn Boston matchup even more interesting because Cleveland put up more of a fight than a lot of people thought they would.
Right. And then we have Cleveland going on to take on Atlanta, which we will get into as well. But then the same night, we had Minnesota take out the Clippers 109-104. Reggie Jackson, 17 points, 7 rebounds. Paul George is doing typical Paul George things. I wish people would stop hating on that guy. 34 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. Now, for the Timberwolves, we had Pat Beverly, who did all that celebrating and jumping and running around with 7 points, 11 rebounds.
Well, you know, that's Pat Bev going up against his former team, and Pat Bev going Pat Bev.
Right. And then Anthony Edwards, man, another young guy that's going to be a beast. 30 points, 5 rebounds. Cat did not have a great game. 3 of 11, 11 points, 5 rebounds, fouled out as well. D'Angelo Russell,
the greatest shooting big man of all time, fouled out? Oh my
the greatest shooting big man of all time. You know, just I'm not even going to go there with. I'm gonna let that one go today.
And you know what? This was a shame. He should have never went there because Cat is not a bad dude. He's a really good guy. He's a nice guy. And I'm like, why would you even go there?
Right. He was. I'm sorry. I started reading comments. D'Angelo Russell, 29 points, and then so we had that huge celebration. You know, everybody jumping on tables. They popping champagne in the locker room. Pat Bev going live like he just won the NBA championship. So, you have any thoughts on that? You agree with it? Do you understand it? Or like, what's your thoughts on that? Because I've been seeing JJ Redick and other basketball players going back and forth on Twitter and ESPN and yada yada. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, they act like they never been there before. It's like somebody over celebrating an end zone touchdown. Like, man, you've been there enough times. You don't over celebrate. It's one thing to celebrate a little bit. Right. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. They probably felt like, wow, we made some noise. And remember, they had a nice second half from like February on. At one point, they were the hottest team in the NBA. So they earned the right to do the play-in. But no, they ain't won the whole damn thing.
The hottest team at one point until the Mavericks came and got them. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, the Mavericks did that to lots of teams. They did that to the Mavericks. Actually, let me tell you something. For those who have been keeping up, they had won 3 straight games against Golden State. They stopped the Chicago Bulls' 9-game winning streak in Chicago. They did that down here. They stopped. They beat Miami. They beat Boston and Boston. Beat Brooklyn and Brooklyn. They stopped Memphis' 12-game winning streak in Memphis. They have 17 come from behind victories of 10 points or more. They are number 1 in clutch situations in the entire NBA. For those who haven't been keeping up.
Right. So, you know I have, but I'm glad you're throwing out all these facts for the followers.
I'm just saying because there's a lot of people. They beat Philadelphia on the night that the goalpost was crooked. There's only a couple of teams they can't handle. They cannot beat Phoenix Suns until proven otherwise. Phoenix owns them for the last umpteen years. But outside of them, hey, everybody else they done beat.
Yeah, so it's a great thing to have you on. I have a lot of people that gets on my stream. They're from all over the world. I have the East Coast. I have other countries and yada yada. So they try to keep up, but when it comes to the Dallas sports, they don't quite get they don't quite understand everything that goes on like we would understand it here in Dallas. So
well, that's why they listen, because they can find out more information, and more information is more power. Now, there's always going to be people who have narratives. There are always going to be people who troll. There are always people who bully. There's people who traffic in fear. And you got to realize that all these different information bubbles have all kinds of characters. There's even people who aren't even real. They're bots. And they're just going to have a different opinion just to egg you on. If you know all those things, then you can keep your temperament and just deal in facts.
Right. So that's what I'm working on, not going off on people all the time.
Yeah, ain't no need to, especially when you know you're right.
Right. So I have people here in Dallas that I can hit them with pure stats. I will literally post stats on the stream while talking, especially when it comes to Dak. We're not going to talk about that today, just to say, but when it comes to Dak, oh man, I deal with it. And it comes from more Cowboys fans than the haters, which is mind-boggling to me. So, but that's another story for another day.
Well, let me say this because it ties into basketball.
Okay.
What this little inkling of what you get with Dak, it was 10 times worse with fans dogging out Dirk.
Right.
And right now, he's so beloved, as he should be. But people act like back before he won that title, everybody and their mother, including the Maverick fans, was calling him a soft Euro.
Right.
That he could not win. That he didn't know all he can do is try hard. He'll never win a title. He's too soft. I can't even tell you how the hell he went through. And that's why I really admire that man, because first of all, I mean, I'm totally biased because I know.
Uh-oh. We lost him. Oh, man. Uh-oh, is he back? Okay, we got him back.
What's the last thing you heard me say?
You said you're totally biased.
Yeah, because I've been friends with Dirk since he got here, and he went through hell. I totally admire the man because he doesn't hold that grudge. But I can't even tell you how many people pretend like, I've always loved Dirk. No, you
right.
I remember when you were dogging him out saying he'll never win. They can't get out of the first round. Dirk is no good. He sucks. He choked. Dirk was embarrassed when he got the MVP that year in 2007 because they had won 67 games, the most games since Jordan's Bulls won 72. Right. And here he was with 67 wins, and the Mavericks get knocked down the first round by the Warriors. And he was named the regular season MVP. He was embarrassed, and I felt so bad for him because everybody said he's soft. Right. He did everything he could. And again, so when you talk about Dak, I mean, his story is yet to be written, but even Tony Romo, there are people who say, Tony Romo couldn't win anything. Well, had he won one championship, whole thing flips. The whole thing flips.
And the Dak conversation is so frustrating to me because I'm like, you're not you can't call yourself a Cowboys fan when you're rooting on this guy to fail just so you can say, I told you so. You're not a fan.
See, that's the thing. Even when the Mavericks won that title, there were so many people that did not want to be wrong.
Right.
They wanted to double down. And then, so guess what those same people are saying? It's not a bunch of them. It's several of them. That was a fluke title. It's like, what?
How?
Oh, they're like, LeBron lost it. The Mavericks didn't win it. LeBron lost it. It's LeBron's fault. Miami didn't know what they were doing yet. So the Mavericks, there was a lucky title, and Dirk's still soft. There are people who want to double down on that, and I just flip a pencil. I can say, there are some people that's how they were raised. They're miserable. They have miserable lives, and that's what they feed off of. They feed off of misery.
Yeah. I have a friend that tell me all the time, Mark Cuban brought that championship. It's fake. That's why they blew the team up. They didn't want to get exposed the next year. Yada. I just stopped arguing with him. Okay, whatever. Dirk went through Kobe Bryant.
He went through 7 MVPs.
Yes. Probably that is the most impressive playoff run ever. It is. Right?
Well, now he's getting his flowers. This year, in the 75th anniversary of the NBA, every player, and the latest is Kevin Durant, who's always admired Dirk. He's not recently doing it, but all the players have always said what he did was absolutely amazing. Jason Kidd was on that team, but guess what? Jason was past his prime. Jason Terry was on his team, but Jason Terry is not one of the 75 most greatest players of all time. You had guys who were very good players. Matrix, all those guys were very good players, but they weren't the team up guys. They weren't in their prime.
Right.
So they were a fantastic team, and they were a very good team, and they earned it. And guess what? They did not go through game 7s. Every series they won was 6 games or less. And they swept the 2-time champion Kobe Bryant Lakers, and Phil Jackson never coached again.
Made him retire. And a lot of people forget that year, Caron Butler, their second best player on the team at that time, got injured and was out for the whole season. So a lot of people forget that. But, like I said, that's another, we'll bring that up later on in another time as well. So back to the play-in, we had Atlanta take out Charlotte 132-103. Charlotte is now completely eliminated. They somehow managed to blow them out without Trae Young having a great game. Trae Young went 8 for 24. He still had 24 points and 11 assists, but 8 for 24, 1 for 7 for 3, and you still managed to blow out Charlotte 132-103 without John Collins. How did that happen?
Yeah. That's called Trae Young turned into a volume shooter, just like Antoine Walker. He was volume shooter. Charlotte just ain't ready yet. They're a young team. They're like Cleveland. They're just not ready yet. That's all. Balls is a great player. LaMelo is a great player. But they're just not ready yet. And Atlanta took out the Knicks last year. Spoiled their Super Bowl parade. They were so happy to be in the playoffs. Like I said, Atlanta been there before, so they know what to do. And Trae Young, again, he does not have to carry that team on the back. That's why Maverick fans who did not appreciate the talent that LUKA has with him were always saying, look at Trae Young's talent. If only LUKA had shooters like Trae Young. They now respect Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, I was one personally that was ready to get rid of Dwight Powell at the beginning of the year. I can't lie.
Oh, you drank that poison, huh?
I was one of the ones. I was like, okay, we've had him here. I'm
let me explain something to you. Let me explain for those who did not know. Back when, and again, I'm providing intel because I know those guys. I'm there at every game, and I talk to them a lot. And I know the coaching staff, and I know Carlisle's coaching staff. When LUKA was a rookie, I looked up some crazy stat. I was looking at some crazy stats, and it showed out of nowhere that Dwight Powell, this was LUKA's rookie year, was the most efficient rim runner in the NBA. And I was like, what? Now, don't get me wrong. I just thought Dwight Powell was a try-hard guy. And, of course, LUKA's rookie year, that was Dirk's last year. It was no big thing. It was like, okay, whatever. Well, I saw this. I was like, this don't make any sense. Why is he the most efficient rim runner? And at that time, he was like, off of pick and rolls, he was shooting like 78%, which is insane. Right. So I was talking to the coaches about this, and they said, y'all just don't know. Dwight Powell and LUKA got this crazy chemistry. LUKA likes this play. This is LUKA, not Powell. This is LUKA. If you're talking about weaponizing LUKA and getting maximum LUKA, it's not the step back three. Because remember, when he was a rookie, he wasn't making no step back threes. He kept trying to do it, but he couldn't make it.
Right.
They were saying back then, they said LUKA likes to start the offense by doing a pick and roll, and the best guy on the team to do this pick and roll with LUKA is Dwight Powell. And what it does is it gives LUKA an option of either LUKA making a layup or doing a little baby shot in the paint, or he throws it up to Powell for a dunk. Or Powell's clever because he's got a high basketball IQ. LUKA's got a high basketball IQ. They got the chemistry, and they can make stuff happen out of nowhere. And then guess what happens? It allows the three-point shooters to thrive. And it really makes a corner three. If we could get a corner three guy, it's really going to weaponize LUKA. So the way we're going to build this team moving forward is we're going to find guys that can hit corner threes. Well, at the time, now remember, Porzingis ain't even playing. He's injured. He's still coming from the Knicks. But they're like, we just got to get these corner three guys. That's when they traded for Seth Curry, right? Right. And you saw what Seth Curry did with the Mavericks. Now, they foolishly traded in Philadelphia for Jay.
What was his name?
Jason Richardson. Jay Rich. Yeah, Jay Rich is now with Oklahoma City. They traded him, moved him on to Brooklyn. To Boston. But the point being, they gave Dwight Powell this big contract. It wasn't big. It was a good contract based upon like Dodo, the upside. Right. Well, he blows out his Achilles.
Right.
So everybody who says Dwight Powell is overpaid for what he does, you're not looking what he had to come through with that Achilles. Right now, you're getting Dwight Powell from when he first started with LUKA. Okay? He's now showing you what he had. But guess who unleashed it? Not Rick Carlisle, Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
And Igor. Because Igor and LUKA on the same page, and they're like, okay, what do you like to do? And they call it the blender. Have you heard that term yet?
Yes.
They call this offense the blender. What it is it sucks in the defense to LUKA and Powell. And this is what's really effective about it. It's not even having about all these three-point shooters wide open, and you got to have all these shooters for LUKA.
Right.
Nowadays, because all these defensive, they know, okay, most teams try to shoot a three. It leaves open the two-point shot or a dunk or a layup, which means Jalen Brunson thrives. Spencer Dinwiddie thrives. LUKA thrives because he's all tempo. All right, he goes at his own pace. But more importantly, Dwight Powell thrives. It's no different than having DeMar DeRozan on this team, except Powell doesn't shoot threes. DeMar DeRozan doesn't shoot threes, but DeMar DeRozan is a weapon in Chicago. I wanted him here. I wanted that to be the other guy. And I realized this when the Mavericks are trying to sweep the Spurs for the first time in history last year, and DeMar DeRozan just came on down and picked his spot and hit the shot, the game-winning shot. And I was like, damn, that's the guy we need, because he will make the two-point shot because nobody's guarding the two anymore.
Exactly. So
the blender sucks into the paint, and if they stay out there on the threes, Dwight Powell will eat.
Yeah.
And it's no different than people knowing about how if you get the mismatch on a center on Luka Doncic. In other words, if Rudy Gobert or who's the center for the Clippers last year in the playoffs? You know what I'm talking about. The big guy. It's barbecue chicken. It don't even matter. Even with Milwaukee, Giannis turned into barbecue chicken because Dwight Powell and Luka set him up. People don't know that stuff. But you got to know it to know the value. And so now everybody's tap dancing, including you. Oh, I didn't realize Dwight Powell was that good. That's because Carlisle and his staff didn't utilize him properly.
Yeah, I was done at the beginning of the year because he started off a little rough. When the whole team started off a little rough, then you had to deal with the COVID thing. I wasn't the one to turn on the team, but like
you turned
Dwight
on
Powell, Dwight Powell,
he became the lightning rod. I give you credit. See, you're doing something a lot of people don't. Instead of double downing on your mistake, you said, guess what? I have new information, and I learned something from that. In other words, my bad, I got new information. I try to tell people all the time when they didn't think this Maverick team, which is basically last year's team,
right,
and they were dogging out Nico back in August for not making all these massive changes. And he said, no, let's see what we got. I always tell people who are smart enough to realize you don't have to double down on your dumb ass mistake. All you have to say to cover your own ass is, Rick Carlisle's coaching staff didn't show me what these players had.
Exactly.
That's all you had to say. Was, you know what? Rick Carlisle didn't show me Josh Green could do all those things. Guess what? Jason Kidd's coaching staff showed you Josh Green can do something.
He's nice.
Dodo was worth that contract. Do you realize there are dummies who as soon as Dodo got his contract, he's overpaid. No, he's not. And guess what? He's continued to go on a trajectory of superseding his value. In other words, he is the only player in NBA history. Mavs PR stat just put this out. He's the only player in NBA history for 5 consecutive years to improve his three-point percentage. We're talking about Dodo, who also can drive to the basket. And by the way, watch Dodo lure Rudy Gobert out on the perimeter. That's going to be one of the inside things you watch for tomorrow afternoon when the Mavericks play Utah. Utah's in trouble. Don't let me get started on them.
Yeah, we're going to get into that real soon. With the last play-in game that's been played, the New Orleans Pelicans take out San Antonio Spurs 113-103, which sets up the Pelicans versus the Clippers. Who do you have winning that game for the 8th seed?
The Clippers barely, and only because Paul George is back. If Paul George were not back, people are sleeping on the Pelicans. They kind of dismissed them when Zion missed the whole season. I know Zion, they ain't no good. That team is a nice little squad.
Yeah.
They got some pieces that you really don't want to mess with. Yeah. And the Clippers are going to have their hands full. But Paul George, like you said, you wish people wouldn't be hating on him. They were hating on him because he was, playoff P? He should have
Right.
never said that. It's no different than Cat. Cat should have never said what he said. Paul George should have never said playoff P. If he never uttered those words, people would respect him.
So my thing about the Paul George playoff P thing is, if you look at his history, Indiana, he balled. He just couldn't get past LeBron. OKC, he balled,
balled.
but they just lost because they couldn't play defense. Melo didn't have a good series. Westbrook was too many turnovers. He had one bad year, and that was the first year with the Clippers. He balled last year. Like so playoff P.
And he even said that year in the bubble, he was stressed out of his mind.
Yeah.
Now don't get me wrong, I'm not. It happens. Even Dak Prescott said way back when, you know about Dak's and his family situation, man. That's enough to stress a lot of people. You have no idea what was going on with Paul George and his family and him. A lot of those players down there in bubble being away from all those things and how they were dealing with it. So again, I give people credit for realizing, the man can play, but for people who want to just not let it go because he's calling himself playoff P, and they won't let that go unless he wins the whole damn thing. That's on them.
Yeah. See,
but I think New Orleans has a really good shot. But Paul George, he can play, and he's back.
I want to pick New Orleans because they did add a veteran in CJ that can kind of calm the young guys down if needed. But I think the whole overall roster with the Clippers, they just been there, done that. So I feel like they're gonna pull it off as well. Then we have Atlanta taking on.
Real quick, you got to just text it in. He said, I thought it was pandemic P. That's what they were calling him when he wasn't playing as well as playoff P. He nicknamed himself playoff P, just the way Cat nicknamed himself the greatest shooting big man of all time. When you say stupid things, people are going to make you own it. You got to live up to that. It's like LeBron calling himself the king. If he never won those titles, he would be, literally having to wear that non-winning crown. But he's won some titles.
They still coming at him. So that's another story. So who you have between the Hawks and the Cavaliers for the 8th seed?
Oh, the Hawks, because like I said, they are playoff tested. They know what they can do. I don't think they're going to go that far in the playoffs, but they know what they can do.
All right, so let's get into the main event. Let's get into the playoffs round 1, and then we'll be done for today. Let's go ahead and start off with the Mavericks and Luka's.
You better go to the other ones first. We're gonna elaborate on this. You might not have time.
You want to do the other ones first? Okay, let's
do the other ones first. Save the best for last, and we'll zip through these other ones.
All right, let me.
Or either that, or you won't get to the other ones. I'm gonna tell you that
now. Let's get into it. So let's start off with Golden State, number 3 seed versus Denver. Who do you have in that round?
I have Golden State because they got the pedigree. Denver is a good. Don't get me wrong. You got your MVP. Jokic is the MVP. He does not have all of his help. There's only so far he can go. I'm going with Golden State.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you there, especially if Curry comes back healthy.
They guarantee he's back.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was guaranteed already. Okay, so
yeah, how well he plays, we don't know, but they say he's gonna play.
Okay. So yeah, I have Golden State as well. Number 2 seed Memphis versus Minnesota. Who do you have?
Of course, Memphis. I grew up in Memphis, and Ja Morant is the truth. And they don't even need him.
They don't. So that really killed his MVP. They really killed his MVP by winning. What? They went 22-2 without him. I believe.
Yeah, he does not have to carry them. That's a very talented team. Their coach is in that MVP in the Coach of the Year conversation.
Yeah. So there you go. I have Memphis as well. I think it's going to go 7 games though. So I think it's going to be a tough series for him. Moving on.
I think Memphis in 5 or 6.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Memphis is for real. They didn't get. Look, you don't have the second best record in the entire NBA if you're not legit.
It's a lot of talent though on that Minnesota team that could probably sneak some games in.
Well, then how come they didn't move ahead of the Mavericks and was number 3 team in the West?
I mean,
they're not playoff tested. Only Pat Bev. You gotta. In other words, you gotta know how to play these refs. You gotta know the tricks of the trade. You gotta go through these things to know what you can do. I'm not saying that Minnesota's not talented. I'm just saying they don't have the pedigree yet. They're not battle tested. Memphis actually was in the play-in last year and gave Golden State hell, I believe.
Yeah, it was a tough game for Golden State.
I think they knocked out Portland too, I believe.
Did they? I have to go
I
back and
can't
look at
remember.
that. Yeah, I have to
I
go
can't
back and
remember.
look at
All
that.
I know is they've been in the play.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at that one. Moving to the
Yeah.
East, we have Philadelphia versus Toronto. Who do you have in that?
Toronto gonna get Philadelphia hell. It's gonna be Philly in 7 though. And I'm gonna tell you something. If Philadelphia does not win, I'm gonna go with Doc Rivers on this because I have never trusted James Harden in the playoffs. I was dogging him out way back, like in 2016 when the Mavericks were taking on the Houston Rockets, and I was like, James Harden is not a playoff player. And the Mavericks lost that series, but I have never trusted James Harden. He's great in the regular season. Playoffs, that man's legs go, and then he's at the strip club every night.
That's true. That's true.
But I think Toronto is good, but just like Minnesota, they don't have enough pedigree. Only Van Vliet and Siakam have been there before.
This one is probably the toughest one for me. But I think
It
I'm gonna
is.
have to go Philly in 7. I think Joel Embiid is just gonna do what he has to do
Yeah.
to get past first round.
Yeah, they don't have an answer for him. And they
Right.
got the home court for game 7.
Right. And then moving on, we have Milwaukee and Chicago.
I love watching the Chicago Bulls play, but no, Giannis will not be denied. They're getting past that round. I'm saying Milwaukee in 6.
Agreed. That's exactly how I have it as well. Then we get to probably the most entertaining one outside of, for us, the Mavericks, because it's Kyrie Irving going back to Boston. That crowd is going to give this man hell, but I feel like he's going to step it up. So who do you have in that, Brooklyn or Boston?
Steve Nash is my guy, but and KD, I love KD too, and Kyrie's eye, and Kyrie's don't get me wrong, Kyrie's extremely talented. But Boston has the 3rd best record in the NBA behind the Mavericks and Phoenix since January 1.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. That team is looking like the team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie. Remember Kyrie got hurt that year?
Right.
And to me, they should have beat Cleveland, but they didn't. They had game 7 at home. First time a Boston Celtic team has ever lost a game 7 in Boston. I'm talking about Jalen and them got something to prove against Kyrie. It's not the city, not the fans. They know they can win without him. And you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This team knows. And remember, their head coach was an assistant coach with Brooklyn. He knows everything about Kyrie and KD and Steve Nash.
Now, one thing I will say, if Seth Curry plays like he did in the play-in game, there's no way Brooklyn wins. 0 points. That's not going to get it. That's not going to get it. They need him to go back to being the old Seth Curry that we know and love. So
now here's what's crazy. This is what's crazy. There are a lot of people saying if Ben Simmons play, and they claim he might play, say his back might be all right.
Right.
That, we got a series now. And I'm like, no, you don't. Because all those guys got to get used to him. He plays a whole different style of basketball. You know he ain't going to make a layup, let alone a dunk. He ain't jacking up no threes. He can play some defense. But at the same time, you can't just change up all these rotations and do all these things, especially a guy who ain't going to shoot. And it ain't even about they don't need him to shoot. He ain't going to shoot when he needs to shoot.
Right.
He ain't going to make that layup. That's why he's not in Philadelphia no more. He wouldn't even make a layup.
Wouldn't even attempt it. Right under the goal. Right under the goal.
So again, I don't expect Ben Simmons to play, but there are foolish people who say if he plays, it's different. I think Boston, the team and the coach, because the coach came from Brooklyn, he was assistant coach with Steve Nash last year. They know too much intel on Brooklyn. It's going to be a tough matchup because Brooklyn got talent and KD is for real. Had his foot not been on that line, I mean, Giannis then wouldn't know how to win a title.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Boston this year is a scary beast. I would not be surprised if they made it to the finals.
All right, so we can go ahead and do the 1 versus 8 seeds since you're predicting that Atlanta is going to beat Cleveland. Who do you have between Atlanta and Miami if they end up matching up?
Miami.
For some reason, I don't believe in Miami for some reason this year.
You don't have to.
Like I don't know what it is.
Was it because of the big fight on the bench?
No, it was even way before that. It's just something about
Well,
that
I didn't
team.
believe in last year. Whatchamacallit was smelling himself. The guard that can shoot, the boy from Kentucky.
Tyler
Hero took his talents to South Beach and never went to the gym. This year, he learned. This year, under the radar, just like the Mavericks, he had a hell of a year. So I actually look at Miami to beat Atlanta. I don't look at them being the finals, though. I look at them to beat Atlanta.
Is John Collins coming back this year? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, so that's really going to be a deciding factor. But I don't know why, because I watched a lot of their games. They're very talented, greatly coached. I just can't. I don't know. It's something about Miami that's just not clicking with me. So I have Miami winning this series too, but I think they go second round and out. So
I can believe that. Again, I can believe that. I think low-key Boston or Philadelphia might get to the finals, NBA finals. Not the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. We're gonna have to see about that.
And Brooklyn's the most dangerous team in the playoffs to me because you don't know what you're gonna get if they get hot. But I can't see them staying hot for 7 games against Boston, and Boston got home court.
I think I actually have less trust in Philly than I do Miami.
But I'm with you. I told you I cannot trust Harden. I cannot trust Harden.
Yeah.
If Toronto wasn't so young, I would say, Philadelphia ain't going nowhere. But Embiid is real MVP candidate. Doc Rivers been through the wars, and they don't need just Harden to win.
Right.
There's a young guy from South Garland up there, Tyrese Maxey.
Yep. Maxey is killing it. Let's get to the number 1 seed. You said you have the Clippers beating Minnesota, which makes them the 8th seed. So Phoenix and the Clippers a rematch from the Western Conference Finals last year. I don't know.
Tell you right now. Let me just end this right now, so we can get to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
This is the Phoenix Suns' year. Barring CP3 getting hurt, which is a real possibility, they win in the damn championship. It is their turn. They are focused. I've seen this before in the NBA. When a team is focused and they ain't slouching through nobody. You see they won more games than anybody this year. Whether CP3 played or not, they are on a mission. I've seen this before. They got everything. Monty Williams is the coach of the year. Should have been it last year. The team, they could have won the title last year. Ain't nobody stopping the Phoenix Suns.
Okay, bold predictions right here on the Dope Sports Podcast by Chris
It ain't
Arnold.
even that bold. All you do is look at it.
Yeah.
Barring CP3 just getting hurt and for some reason it just fall apart. But they played without him being there the last couple of months after the All-Star break.
Yeah, they put Devin Booker in the MVP conversation.
Did not miss a beat. You got to understand when a team focused, been there, know what they doing. Again, it's not like, they don't won a lot like Memphis and nobody saw them coming. Everybody knew you got to beat Phoenix. And guess what? They swatted down everybody, no problem. Yeah. They had the target on their back. Yeah. They laughed at it.
Yeah.
Trust me. Milwaukee had the same target. They didn't have the best record, did they?
No, but I still think they're the most dangerous team in the East.
Are they in the East? That's what I said. Yeah. Milwaukee could be. Look, don't get me wrong. I shouldn't have even said Philadelphia and Boston. It really is Milwaukee and Boston because I don't trust Harden.
Yeah, Milwaukee. I think it's going to be a rematch in the finals, and then we'll see what happens from there. Like you said, unless Chris Paul gets hurt or the Mavericks get the luck of the draw, something. But let's get into the main event. We have the Mavericks versus Minnesota round 1 starting tomorrow. Saturday. Yeah, starting tomorrow.
Utah. You mean Utah?
Yes, Utah. I'm sorry. LUKA Doncic is out for game 1.
You saying it, but they're not saying it.
I thought they made it official yesterday.
No, they didn't. That's Sham Charania, who is a great reporter, adding things up. And he said, if you're conservative, don't expect him to play. Mavericks have not made nothing official. There's nothing official. It's called strategy.
So let me ask you this. Would you play him tomorrow?
No.
Agreed.
That's just me. That's just me. I have no control on that but we don't even know what the grade is. Today, you're going to find out if it's officially a grade 1. If it's a grade 1, that means the smartest thing you can do is keep him out 7 days. That means he should not play health reason wise until next Thursday in Utah. The reason the Mavericks probably are not going to play him tomorrow, and it's not official, is because this is a 7-game series and you got home court advantage. But more importantly, the Mavericks have a solid team that believes in each other and have won games without LUKA Doncic. But more importantly, the Utah Jazz are imploding. This is a team that is about to be blown up this summer because they can't stand each other. Here's 2 stats for you to keep up with. You probably saw the headlines. It went viral. They looked at the analytics. Donovan Mitchell averages 2 passes a game. 2 passes a game to Rudy Gobert. Not 2 assists, 2 passes. But the kicker, he averages 3.5 turnovers a game, which means he gives the ball more to the other team than his own damn center. And this is something that's been building up for 3 years. This is the 3rd year. In other words, they have not met expectations for 3 years. Okay? And it's not suddenly like they're going to gel. They've lost 7 of the last 10 games. The last time, and by the way, they have given up more leads than any team in the NBA this year.
Right.
They choke. They are a professional choke artist team. They don't trust each other. They don't like each other. They know they've got the talent, which makes it worse. It's not like they're a bunch of try-hard guys and they can't get over the hump. They are talented enough to win these things. Well, guess what? They haven't gone anywhere in the playoffs. And to show you how you don't have to have a generational talent to beat them, they were up on the Clippers last year, 2-0. Kawhi goes out, and the Clippers still came back and beat them. They are choke artists. The Mavericks know this, and the Mavericks are confident, and the Mavericks have beaten them the last 2 times. The only thing the Clippers can hang, the only thing that the Jazz can hang their hat on is, well, the Mavericks have lost 11 straight games in Salt Lake City. That's the only thing they can claim their hat on. But guess what? Guess who's tighter in the playoffs than the Mavericks? The Jazz.
Yeah.
The Jazz have this game 1. There is more pressure on the Jazz than the Mavericks. The Mavericks have nothing to lose. And they know they can win without LUKA. And LUKA knows they can win without him. It's not like LUKA says, oh, the only way we can win is with me. And the coaching staff knows how to coach. And guess what? If Rudy Gobert has to chase Dorian Finney-Smith to the perimeter, the Mavericks going to win this game. The only thing the Mavericks have a concern about is we got to get rebounding. Defensive rebounding, because LUKA Doncic is the Mavericks' best rebounder. So they've got to pay attention to rebounding. But guess what? Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, guess what, y'all? Y'all can drive to the basket. And guess what? Spencer Dinwiddie goes to the basket and goes to the line more than any player in the league other than James Harden.
Really?
Yes, look it up. I'm here dropping knowledge bombs on all your podcasts. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Mavericks are going to sweep. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But for all the people who traffic in fear, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. If that's the way you want to roll, have at it. But guess what? I look at Utah. You got more to worry about than the Mavericks, because LUKA is coming back at some point. You got to trust each other, and they don't even trust each other.
Okay, so you think it goes 6 or 7, or how many games you think this is going?
Depends on when LUKA comes back, and nobody knows when that'll be.
I personally think.
But trust me, it could go 6 or 7 easily. Guess where Game 7 is? The building where the Mavericks have won 29 home games, the most since they won the NBA championship. And by the way, the Mavericks defense is number 7 in the NBA. When the Mavericks won the championship, they weren't even top 10 defensively. That's what Jason Kidd and this we bought in Dallas Mavericks team has done.
Nice. I think LUKA personally comes back game 3. That's just me. Is there any update on Maxi Kleber that you know of?
Maxi Kleber's going to play. Now, here's the thing about Maxi Kleber. He's got 6 fouls to give on Rudy Gobert. It's not about Maxi's three-point shooting. You wish he did, right? But guess what? You rotate those bodies. People are not aware that Jason Kidd employs 5 zone defenses. 5. That's why you don't see Boban. because Boban's feet aren't fast enough because he switches them on. They switch to different kind of defenses that they run based upon what kind of offense, not the whole game. I'm talking about teams change up different players and run different schemes, right? So he's got a different defense for each one of them. Sean Sweeney is hell on defense. He can do a 2-3, a 3-2, a box and one, a diamond and one. He can do all kinds of defenses, and they do it all during the game. That's why Boban doesn't play. They love Boban, but his feet aren't fast enough. So you will see all kinds of people on Rudy Gobert. What the Mavericks have to do is drive the basket, get to the free throw line, and get rebounds. They do that, and also guard against the three, because Donovan Mitchell going to jack in the threes. He ain't going to try to get to Rudy Gobert. Because in his mind, I got to save this team.
Right. Any update on Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Oh, he's going to play? No, he's not playing. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Theo Pinson are the 6th and 7th men. They're not coming off the bench. They are on the bench talking smack. Now, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about saying things that make players want to start fights. It's called the dozens. As you know, growing up, it's called clowning somebody.
Right.
If you can clown somebody and get in their head, and they own Rudy Gobert, that's inside knowledge. They say little things like, man, his feet are too big. They're not like that. There's ways of saying it that's clever at the right time that these players' heads whip around. And they can't believe the bench is saying that. And it's not enough where you say your mama or say something personal that makes somebody fight, but it makes you distract. It's a distraction. They are a huge distraction, and it cracks everybody up, which just motivates the Mavericks players, and it creates more defensive pressure, ironically, on the other team's offense. It's an amazing thing. But Tim Hardaway Jr. and Theo Pinson are 1-2 punch. They're like, I'm putting it like this. They're like those two Muppets in the balcony. You know those two Muppets in the balcony?
Yeah, always talking.
That's them. That's them.
I see them on the bench all the time on TV, jumping up and down. And when I go to the games, I see them talking. But I didn't know they was doing that.
That loud. I mean, I swear to God, the other team hears them and cracks the Mavericks players up, and it keeps the Mavericks players loose, and it adds to the defense. I swear to God, they are like secret weapons. It's like those two damn Muppets up in the balcony.
Wow. That I did not know. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, I'm just dropping all these knowledge bombs. People will learn, and you'll learn why. You'll learn why Michael Jordan said, "Talent can win games. Chemistry and teamwork wins championships."
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the Mavericks going to win a championship, but you're going to see why they won 52 games and why Utah's in trouble.
Now, before I let you go, do you think the Mavs will be able to bring in a big fish free agent, as they call it, big fish? Oh, he disappeared again. What happened? I said before I let him go, and he disappeared.
Oh, I'm here. No question. No question. They're definitely going to be able to do that, because you just saw what they were able to do with Spencer Dinwiddie and Dallas Bertans, who, by the way, is shooting 51% in the last 10 games. So just trust me on this. And those aren't necessarily big fish, but other players see what the Mavericks are doing. All superstars love Jason Kidd, and Nico Harrison has relationships with all superstars, and Andrew Baker can make it fit in the cap. So this was so funny. All these quote unquote experts online, or experts who talk on TV or radio, they're always saying, but the Mavericks only have this much cap space. The Mavericks have already figured this thing out with Andrew Baker. It's not about direct trades. They can't fit so-and-so. Yes, they can. Andrew Baker got James Harden's $40 million deal up there to Brooklyn with KD, Kyrie, and did not mess up that playoff squad. Right. They got everything they need to make it happen. If somebody says, hey, Nico, come and get me, man. Come and get me.
Yeah.
And they all want to play with LUKA. So the other thing, you can throw away this narrative, oh, LUKA's going to leave if they don't win a championship. He ain't wired that way.
That was never me on that one.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of people who like to traffic in fear.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
LUKA's not an AAU guy. Okay, he's very competitive, but they have surrounded him with everything he needs. And who is his hero? It's LeBron James, right?
Right.
Who's LeBron James' number one guy he loves? Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd and LUKA are like this. Jason Kidd's got the same basketball IQ as LUKA Doncic. By the way, another factor in the Dallas Mavericks being so good, they got 4 players who have very full basketball IQ. We're not talking about talent. You can be talented like Brooklyn. You can be talented like the Lakers have old talent.
Right.
But the talent's got to mesh. They've got basketball IQs, which allows them to do 5 different zone defenses and allows them to trust each other and play the offense the way they do. First of all, Jason Kidd's got the IQ. He's a coach. The 4 basketball IQs that are extremely high, you can Google this up as well. Analytically, since everybody loves analytics. The highest, these 4 high basketball IQs are LUKA Doncic, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell. I'm sorry, not Dorian Finney-Smith. LUKA Doncic, Dwight Powell, Jalen Brunson, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Huge basketball IQs.
Yeah.
You can have all the talent. You can have all the talent in the world, Andre Drummond, and can't do nothing with it because you'll have a low basketball IQ. You can have all the talent in the world, J.R. Spliff, and make the bad pass.
Yeah. Man.
You can have good talent, work your ass off, but if you got a high basketball IQ, you're in the right place at the right time. You can talk to each other, LUKA and Dwight Powell, and pull Giannis out and have barbecue chicken and beat the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm just saying.
Yep. I'm with you.
I'm saying the Jazz are in trouble. I'm not saying the Mavericks are going all the way to the finals. They don't have they don't have enough talent. But guess what? They got enough wherewithal, with or without LUKA, all 7 games to beat the Jazz, because the Jazz are the perfect victim. Because they point fingers at each other and they know they're about to be imploded this summer because they don't like each other. They know they're like, let's get this thing over with.
Yeah, they don't.
And they don't trust their leads. That's the other part. Like I said, it's not like, oh, we got to get a double-digit lead or we're not gonna win. They don't even trust their double-digit leads.
Yeah. So this is an important series just for multiple reasons. I feel like if the Mavericks say if they go 2 games without LUKA, they win a series. I feel like that confidence is gonna elevate their talent. You know what I'm saying with that?
Oh yeah, because first of all, they already know they're going in.
Right.
That's the thing. See, it's the fans and certain observers who think, oh, LUKA's out, it's the end of the world. Not this team.
Not for this one. Yeah.
Not this team. This team has played so many different ways, and they all have each other's back. And again, Utah might have talent. But it'd be like saying, the Mavericks are in trouble. They're playing the Lakers.
Yeah.
The Lakers, they got talent, but they ain't going nowhere.
Right.
I don't know how to say it any other way. The Jazz aren't going anywhere. Yeah. They're no different than the Lakers. The Lakers have issues. The Jazz have issues. The Jazz have just built up enough to be in the playoffs already. They've been sliding since the All-Star break.
True.
It's no different than the Lakers, but people don't want to hear that. Oh, I got traffic in fear. I got to watch out for the Mavericks have no chance. They're playing the Lakers. They're playing the Jazz.
Right.
Those teams have drama. Doesn't matter what kind of talent they've got. They've got drama. You take them out.
I got you. I'm with you. You're not going to get any arguments from me. I'm with you. I feel the exact same way. One last question before I let you go. Once again, appreciate you joining me today. Huge shout out to Chris Arnold, everybody. Insider from the American Airlines Center. So he will be at the games. So if you go into the games, please, you will see him. You will see him. That's all.
You will hear me. You will hear me. I'm emceeing the games again. During the Mavericks 29-15 run at home.
Yeah.
I was the CA on the PA, filling in for the great Shawnee. Shawnee is absolutely amazing. Yes.
You were.
They won 21 games under my watch.
There you go. So there you go. Good luck,
Different
Charles.
style, but it all works. And much props to the Mavs fans for making that home court what it is, and all the staff, because we cannot do it without the fans, everybody in game ops, everybody pulled together. And again, Sean is holding it through the playoffs. We got this thing on lock.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit in the arena. It's gonna be lit starting tomorrow. It's an afternoon game, right?
12
Early
noon.
afternoon. Oh,
12 noon.
ooh! I used to love them Saturday games back in the day with the Steve Nash Phoenix Suns coming through. We used to have season tickets and all that. Man, just memories, man. I'm not even gonna go down that road right now. Last question, before I let you go. Who is your MVP for the season?
For the Mavericks or for the
No,
MVP for the
for the
league?
whole NBA. The whole NBA.
I got to give it to Jokic. Under the radar. I mean, he had players that were hurt too. Don't get me wrong, Embiid did a great job. I blame Luka for his not being in the conversation because he started preseason. They were saying he's one of the candidates, one of the top candidates. He came in overweight, and then he rolled his ankle. He didn't get to cooking until January. So there were observers who already doubled down, made up their mind that there was nothing he could do. He's been playing better than anybody since in 2022.
Yeah.
But you got to throw in 2021, 2022. Okay? So he's going to be everybody's preseason favorite again going in. And maybe this time he's going to have his act together. He's not going to be on his little mini vacation. He's going to come in ready to roll. Again, he learned, he's young. He's 22. I mean, he was 22 at the time. He's 23 now. And there's a lot of players that basically, work their way into shape. I will say this. Embiid had a nice run. Giannis is always Giannis, but Jokic is. And again, Mavericks have a better record than Denver, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. Did you know that?
Yeah. Trust me, I've been arguing because 2 weeks ago, I believe they had Ja Morant and the guy from Boston. I can't even think of his name right now. Mine just went blank.
Tatum.
They had
Jason
Tatum
Tatum.
all ahead of Luka, and I'm like, how are these guys the MVPs? Because Memphis is winning without Ja Morant. Tatum, he's not doing more. He's not more important to the Celtics than Luka is to the Mavericks, and it's called most valuable player.
Right. So, like I said, what did Luka in is he came in out of shape. He knows it. The Mavericks, and then they had that COVID battle. He had COVID, rolled his ankle. He missed 10 games in December. The Mavericks were 16 and 18. And then January 1,
that was it.
Well, guess what? He's been the best player in the NBA since January. But that's not the way this thing works. You can't say, well, who's been on fire at the end? It don't work that way. You got to be start to finish consistent. Or, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
And again, it'd be different. Here's the way these things work. To me, a few years ago in the NFL, Carson Wentz should have been the MVP of the league. He hurts his knee in December. He still finished with more touchdown passes, more yards than anybody, but they didn't give it to him.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Nick Foles comes in and wins the Super Bowl with his team.
And got a statue out of it.
Right. But Carson Wentz had the best season. He played every game but the last 4. And I'm like, the man played the majority of the season.
Yeah.
All I got to say is they look at the whole body of work, not just what you did at the end or not what you did in the beginning.
Yeah. So, according to NBA.com, Joker is number 1 right now in the standings. Then they moved up Giannis. He's number 2 now. Joel Embiid is number 3.
Yep.
Devin Booker moves up to number 4. And then Luka is number 5. So
Luka's been steady at number 4 and 5. I mean, it is what it is. Again, you cannot deny he was player of the month in February, player of the week in March, and player of the week in April. He has had 7 players of the week. He's had 2 players of the month, or 3 of them. All I can tell you, he's legit. Don't get me wrong. Dirk didn't get an MVP till late in his career. Yeah. So trust me, it takes a while sometimes. It doesn't mean he doesn't deserve it. It's just that, to me, this year, it's his own damn fault. To me, it's not like, oh, he ain't getting no love. It's his own damn fault. Had he started the season strong, there would be no question. Jokic has been solid the entire year with all of his main guys injured.
Yeah. It's amazing. You can average 28, 9, and 9, and you're 5th on the list of MVP. So It's crazy. And then you're on a team that's in what, the fourth spot. Nobody had the Mavericks going past seventh spot, seven
Oh,
seed.
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more. Why he's going to watch out for. Remember, this is voted on, so it's subjective. It's not like here's your analytics and the computer says. Nope, it's voted on. Luka's going to have to watch this. He complains too much to the refs.
He does.
And there are nationwide observers who vote. They don't like that. They look at him as a crybaby. They're looking at him like he's Tim Duncan.
I look at him like that. It be times where I'm like, Luka, that wasn't that important, man. Just go down the court.
I know he's cheesy. I'm gonna tell you something. You got to remember, where did he play in Europe? He played at Real Madrid. Real Madrid has one of the best soccer teams in the world, right?
Yeah.
He's playing basketball like a soccer player. That's all they do.
So
it drives me crazy. And Dirk said it best. He was on with he was sitting at the game last May with Brian Damaris, who does the Valley Sports pregame and postgame show. Brian Damaris, former Maverick personnel director and insider. Brian was saying that Dirk was sitting with him. They were talking about Luka might get this last technical, and they were worried about him last year. And Brian Damaris said Dirk told him this before Jason Kidd even got to the Mavericks. He said, Luka's got to learn to be like Jay Kidd. He said Jay Kidd would say the exact same words, but he would say it under his breath. He said, you cannot show up the refs. You cannot show them up. Luka's too passionate. He's too animated. And so that's what Luka's got to work on. If Luka could work on his free throws, which he did, if Luka could start working on his step back three, which he did, he can improve that because he knows that's a difference maker. He knows he can't be playing with fire with these techs. And as passionate as he is, he can still make the same argument, but you got to do it under your breath. Yeah. And so if he wants to win the MVP, if he wants to not worry about all these techs, he's got to learn from Jason Kidd, who's been there, done that, and say, look, Don. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
how's that not a fact? And just tell him how's that. Just tell him. You can tell me later how's that not a fact. And he also got to know that each one of these refs are different, as he knows. How you gonna go up to Tony Brothers, who just tossed out Jason Kidd 1 week earlier, and be animated and complain about a half-court shot foul, which it was.
It was.
In a meaningless game. In a meaningless shot attempt. It's like, oh my God, he has no on-off switch.
So I didn't mind him complaining there because that could have injured him, the way the guy went under him and the way he fell.
Well, but that's not who you talk to. You gotta put it all together. You gotta wait. I cannot bum rush. And I already talked to the others. I was out there on the court at the time. My jaw dropped. I'm out there getting ready to do a contest for some fans. They're getting ready to do a dice toss. And I'm out there on the floor and I'm looking at Luka run over there to the refs and I'm like, no! And the reason why is because that's not the one. Now I understand, like you said, I understand the circumstances, but you cannot go up to that guy all animated like that. You just can't do it.
Oh man, so Paul George just entered health and safety protocols. That is not
New Orleans has a chance. I'm telling you, man, New Orleans got a real team.
Yep, and as I'm looking down, Woj himself, the verified account, just broke the news. Wow.
See what happens when I go overtime with you? We get breaking news.
Breaking news, so let's
that you can mention on the podcast.
That is crazy, but I definitely appreciate you coming through. It's a huge honor as always.
A pleasure.
It's a huge honor. Later on down the line, I want to be able to talk to you like near preseason for the NFL. We can talk, Dak Prescott, things like that. Or if the Mavericks advance maybe to the Western Conference Finals, might try to reach out.
Just hit me up.
Yeah,
I'll do it for you. You already know that.
I don't like being that type that just hit, people up and things. I don't like bothering people. That's how I feel when I reach out to people.
I understand, and all I can tell you is if I'm busy or not. And most of the time, I'm all yours. So just count on.
So thank you so much. Huge shout out to Chris Arnold, everybody in the building. If you're in Dallas and you're going to the American Airlines Center, you will catch him there. You also catch him on 105.3 The Fan. So anything else you want to say before we end the podcast? You got any shout out or anything? Got you down, Mr. Got you
Got
down
you down.
himself. So thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and let you leave the screen so you can go ahead and go on about your day, and I'll talk it up with my chat for a little bit. So y'all, once again, shout out to Chris Arnold. Y'all have a great one. Look to the ones that's leaving. I see you leaving. So shout out to Chris Arnold, guys. That's a huge honor right there having him. If you guys don't know who he is, I'm gonna play this video one more time so you can know why this was such a huge honor for me to have him on. So watch this quick 2-minute, 3-minute video about Chris Arnold so you can know why I was so excited to have him on.
Chris Arnold has been a radio and television favorite in the DFW area for more than 40 years. After he graduated from the University of Oklahoma in 1980, he was hired at KKDA-FM, that's K104, as sports director. He was heard every morning with fly jock Tom Joyner and a part of the Skip Murphy and Company morning show. Chris worked at KKDA for 30 years. How in the world he had time to moonlight is anybody's guess, but Chris also hosted his very own highly rated talk show from 1995 to 1999 on Sports Radio 1310 The Ticket. He was the first show on The Ticket to reach #1 in the ratings. Since 1996, Chris has been an integral part of the NBA's world champion Dallas Mavericks broadcast team. First as courtside analyst, and then serving as the Mavs game night MC. Chris was also selected to MC the 2010 NBA All-Star Game in AT&T Stadium in front of a crowd of 108,000 people. That's the largest crowd to view a basketball game in the United States ever. Today, Chris remains a fixture on the Intercom-owned KRLD-FM. That's 105.3 The Fan, and is one of their most popular hosts. He's covered every major sporting event the world has to offer. 28 Super Bowls, 21 NBA Finals, 2 Olympics, 15 Final Fours, 8 World Series, 26 championship boxing title fights, 25 NBA All-Star Games, 8 Baseball All-Star Games, 5 Pro Bowls, 15 college football games, and even the World Cup. On a personal note, we feel obligated, Chris, to let you know there is no bigger supporter of yours than KKDA's Hyman Childs, who has wanted this day to come even more than you for quite some time. Chris Arnold is a 2020 inductee of the Texas Radio Hall of Fame.